Have you ever noticed just how easy it is to get stuck in autopilot? I was thinking about this the other day. I made breakfast the same way I always make it, drank a cup of tea made the same way that I always drink my tea in the morning. I took Go-Go to the same daycare, and I think I even took the same roads that I always take to get there. And the next thing you know, I'm showing up at work. I think we can show up to relationships in much the same way, a little bit on autopilot. And that can be a problem. Relationships and work have a lot in common. They both take a lot of time to find the right one. They get familiar really quickly. They both take a lot of effort, and you have to show up prepared. I forgot my laptop. Most of us show up to relationships without all of the skills that we need, which is like showing up to work without a laptop. What's more, there are some aspects of our relationships that can easily go into autopilot, which is a huge problem if we're not even aware that we're doing the same thing over and over again. In this series of videos, I want to look at some of the autopilot patterns we get stuck into around conflict. And I want to give you some skills that will help you change conflict in all of your relationships. If you're dying to jump ahead and get the skills and figure out your patterns of conflict, go to mypeoplepatterns.com and take the quiz. Let's see if you can spot the pattern that is going on between Ben and Jen in the next clip.
You never listened to me. I asked you to be home by 7 on Tuesday, and you were late. Again.
I was home by 7 on Tuesday. I was a little bit late on Monday, but I called you on the way home.
No, it was Tuesday. I would remember. I was the one waiting for you.
Oh, a bit like I was waiting for you to come home with the groceries last night, which you forgot.
Are you kidding me? I am the one that always gets the groceries. And don't talk to me about forgetting things, like you forgot our anniversary.
We already talked about this. It's not a big deal. No one celebrates a 6-month anniversary. No one.
So I'm not a big deal to you? And neither is our relationship.
I see this pattern of conflict quite often in my office in couples or families. And the hope would be that over time, Ben and Jen can sort this out and get towards conflict resolution. It may not necessarily be a straight path, there may be ups and downs, but really they should be able to get to resolution. However, they are stuck in a pattern of conflict. And I call it switch tracking because every other sentence they change the conversation. First of all, they're arguing over whether it's Tuesday or Monday, then suddenly it changes to the groceries, and then it's about the anniversary, and then it's about the state of the relationship. There's no conflict resolution because the topic changes. And the more the topic changes, the further away they get from Jen's original complaint, which was a legitimate thing about being late. So that was just one of many patterns of conflict that I see in couples and families that come to my office. But now let's take a look at what goes on in us individually when it comes to conflict, because we have our own patterns there. The Killman conflict mode instrument is a great place to start. It puts cooperativeness and assertiveness, or anger, in quadrants, and the most aggressive and least cooperative person, we call that someone who is competing. There's a win-lose situation there, and so on and so forth. The problem is, this was developed for businesses and negotiations, so it doesn't quite fit for human interactions and those of us in relationships. It does give us a... So thinking back to Ben and Jen's argument, I would say that there's a lot of anger or assertiveness and not very much cooperativeness. But the style of conflict that the Killman model doesn't show is what I call a retaliator. If you're curious about knowing if you're a retaliator or what your conflict style is, be sure to check out the free quiz on mypeoplepatterns.com, or you can kind of figure it out just by looking at the model. So I would put a retaliator somewhere up here. Very little cooperativeness and a lot of anger. And just to put it in context, an avoider has no anger and no cooperativeness. So this is the retaliator, the first of 6 positions or styles of conflict that I want to explore in these videos. And the retaliator plays a defensive game. They give as good as they get, and you can definitely see that in the video clip. The retaliator is a master at switch tracking. They will play the victim, or turn the tables and attack. If you are living with a retaliator, this is a tricky relationship dynamic, and my advice would be to stick to one topic at a time and use your I statements to lower defensiveness.